here so that I can post it later, and let's get started.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with just some introductions. We do have some new officers that we are so happy to have on our team. I'll go first. I am Lydia Bank. I am serving as president this semester. I am majoring in 6 through 12 business marketing, information technology. Let's do one fun fact about ourselves as well. And my fun fact is that I learned how to juggle freshman year.
Nice. All right, I'll just call people. How about that? So Hannah, you go.
Hi, I'm Hannah Crable. I'm a sophomore here at UNK. My major is 6 through 12 math. A fun fact about me.
Like how he can open the door.
I don't really have many. We'll go with I'm a twin.
Ooh, that is a fun fact.
Yay, I did not know that. Awesome. All right, Kenny.
Hi, my name is Kenny Mitchell. I'm a freshman here at UNK. I am a 7 through 12 language arts education major with a minor in creative writing. And a fun fact about me is I like to go down little research rabbit holes. So like I went on like a whole research rabbit hole about oceans a while back just because they're weird and I don't really understand them. So a little bit of an existential crisis. Just in, like the fact that the oceans are different colors and I don't know why. Still don't know why. I never found that information.
I was just gonna say I heard it had something to do with the sky, but that doesn't make any sense because when it's cloudy, it's still blue.
It's something to do with like the salt, like the salinity levels, which is just confusing because you would think that the salt would just mix, but it doesn't. Some type of wall is formed that's invisible between the waters, I suppose. But yeah, anyway.
I love that you're a lifelong learner, Kenny. I love that.
That's a strength. You need my sweatshirt, Kenny. Underestimate me. That'll be fun. Right? If we're lifelong learners, that's what we get. I guess I'll introduce myself because I am the faculty advisor here. That's probably important. So my name is Dr. Bailey Koch. Again, I'm the faculty advisor and the co-founder for Secondary Educators Club, along with Dr. Ted Ruppnow, who just recently had twin human boys, and he has 2 human boys who are under the age of 4. So he's a little busy in the evenings right now. So we excuse him. Oh gosh, fun fact about me. I can cry like a baby. You want to hear it? Are you ready? Okay. There you go.
That seriously sounded like a recording. That was so good.
Oh, I know. It's weird. I don't even know when I figured it out. I think I was in middle school. And it never stopped. You know what's weird though? It has nothing to do with my mouth. It's totally throat. The weirdest thing. I know. So there's more effect.
All of my savings would have never guessed you could do that.
That was always very popular with my middle schoolers. I guess I should do it with my college students more often, huh? All right. So there's my fun fact. How about Ashley? You were one of the first on here. I think you were maybe the first.
Well, I was thinking we could do our icebreaker.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that, Lydia. Yes. Okay. Sorry, Ashley.
We're good. We'll continue on with these popcorn introductions. That's okay. But what I'd like you to add is maybe because we're doing classroom management and effective classroom management, if you could just tell us something you've heard about classroom management or anything you've experienced with classroom management to throw in there in that introduction, we would love to hear it. So sorry to interrupt that, Dr. Koch.
No, that's good. It's good that you remember things because this is why you're president. All right, now, Ashley.
Which one?
Oh, sorry, there are 2 Ashleys. Ashley Woosley, since you are unmuted, you go first. Then we'll do Ashley H.
Okay, so my name is Ashley Woosley. I am a junior at UNK, and my major is art education K through 12. But I'm leaning more towards like teaching like secondary. That's why I'm here. And I don't know a fun fact about me. My favorite kind of art is watercolor. I guess that's a fun fact.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then something you've heard about classroom management or anything you've experienced with classroom management.
Oh, okay. So anything I've experienced experienced or I guess I'm in my secondary methods right now, and I'm doing observations at the high school here in Kearney. So I've learned a lot about like classroom management that way. I guess I don't know. How high schoolers are different than elementary kids. It's crazy, honestly.
It is. You would be surprised at how many times you can use the same strategies, though, if they're effective strategies. And we'll talk about that. We will talk about that. Okay, Ashley H. Thank you, Ashley W.
I'm Ashley Huesmuller, and I'm a junior technically. I did all my like English stuff first. I'm doing 7 to 12 English education. So I'm just kind of starting the whole education part of it. Fun fact about me, I don't know if it's super fun, but it takes off a big part of my life, is that I have 2 sons with autism. And so that's it's interesting to me because that comes back to classroom management. How I parent and how I manage a classroom is going to be really interesting, because we're just talking about a lot of the things that we're talking about doing in classrooms, I do with my kids because I have to. So a lot of repetition and being patient with that, and really talking about their strengths instead of weaknesses or things like that, and not comparing students to other students.
Awesome. Excellent information, Ashley. And I also have a son with high functioning autism, and we'll talk about that too as well. And that is a huge reason why I'm better at classroom management now than I was before. Absolutely. Excellent points. Okay, Emily.
I'm Emily 80. I'm social sciences 7 through 12 major. One fun fact about me is, I don't know if it's fun, but none of my roommates do this. I don't know if it's weird or what, but after I brush my teeth, I have to put chapstick on. Something about brushing my teeth, I have to when I'm done. Otherwise, I don't feel like I even brush my teeth. And then classroom management, I work at KCLC, and so I think that has I haven't gone into a lot of of my teaching courses that talk about classroom management, but I think that working at KCLC has really helped me start to develop those skills.
Absolutely. You'll learn a lot more from experience than you will from our classes anyway. I'm not going to lie. But it's also just the truth. So awesome. Awesome. All right. How about Eric?
Hi guys, my name is Eric Leva. I'm a 7 through 12 social science major. And an interesting fact about me, I like to watch 60 Minutes. I think that's a really interesting show. I saw one about how some chimpanzee attacked a lady in Connecticut or something like that.
Well, that doesn't sound fun. How could they have managed that situation better? No, I'm messing with you. All right, what have you heard or what do you know about classroom management, Eric?
Not a whole lot. I'm getting into 306 next semester, I think. I think that's the class I'm taking.
I think I know the instructor for that class.
Yeah. And yeah, that's all I've heard, really.
Okay, fair enough. Awesome. We'll be excited to have you in there. They are kind of making me transfer that class over to somebody else. So I don't entirely know what's happening now. My doctorate is in special education. And now that I'm done with that, they're pushing me more, not pushing me, but obviously I'm going more into the upper level master's courses that, certain people aren't required to teach or aren't able to teach because of not having the higher education. So I'm kind of transitioning out of the 306, but I warned them. I said, if you take me away from my role as a secondary ed advisor, I will quit. This is my favorite thing to do. I love advising secondary ed. So I may not be the instructor for 306, but I did develop the course. So I know it's good. So if I'm not teaching it, Eric, I know who did. You'll be good. It's a good class. Awesome. All right. Thank you for sharing. Hannah.
Hi, my name's Hannah Lenuski, and my major is 7 through 12 modern languages with an emphasis in Spanish, and then also an ESL endorsement. Fun fact, I don't know. All of my siblings were born on the 21st. All 4 of my siblings were born on the 21st of the month, except I wasn't. Yeah. So, and I'm the youngest. And then for classroom management, I work at KCLC at Windy Hills, and then I also work at Horizon as a sped para. So just like the different classrooms that I get to be in kind of help.
Definitely. Absolutely. So I have to ask, is the 21st, is your birthday close at all?
Well, if I would have been born early, I could have done it, but I was born on the 8th. So if I would have been early,
It would have had to be really,
because I was really late too. So if I would have just been a little early.
Oh, you were one of those.
Yeah.
So your mother hated you.
Yeah.
Messing with you. That's awesome. Thank you, Hannah. All right. Emma, you've got 2 people there. Let's start with Emma. I see Emma.
You go first. Hi, I'm Emma Allen, and I'm a secondary English education major. And wait, what are you supposed to answer?
Fun fact.
Oh, fun fact. Fun fact is my mom and my sister are also like English education majors. And so as far as classroom management goes, my sister is in her 2nd year of teaching. And so she's given me a lot of advice because it's definitely been a learning process for her.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm Taylor Bundy, and I'm business, marketing, and infotech ed 612. A fun fact about me, I'm a plant mom. I have lots of plants. And then classroom management, I also haven't taken like classroom management classes at UNK yet, but I also work at KCLC. And so that has helped me a lot with figuring out classroom management stuff.
I love how many of our students are employed by KCLC. Like that's just invaluable experience. I absolutely love that. Emma, I own a greenhouse. I do. I own Natural Escapes and Cozad. It's a landscaping and greenhouse services business. So I have 2 giant greenhouses in what used to be my backyard. We moved out to the lake now and we actually expanded. So on Wednesday of next week, I'm driving to South Dakota to pick up my giant order of plants for our container class. So plants are arriving next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. Y'all will have to come down and dig in the dirt. That's my favorite thing to
For
do.
sure.
Right? Awesome. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Sophia.
Sorry, my computer was unmuted.
Hard to hear, Sophia.
Is that any better?
Much better.
Okay. I had to unplug my headphones. My microphone wasn't working. I'm Sophia Harder, a 7 through 12 biology education major. I'm a sophomore. A fun fact about me is I taught myself how to knit during the J term. And I don't really have a whole lot of experience in the classroom management. Really, I've only ever worked with like very small children.
Well, that is fair. Sorry, I just got a very strange email and I had to look at that. So, all right, well, we're going to give you some more information about that, Sophia. Thank you for sharing. Trinity.
Hi, my name's Trinity Engel, and I'm a freshman, 7th through 12th language arts major. And then, fun fact about me, I don't know why, but I was just thinking about this. My mom used to tell me when I was little that I used to cut my own bangs because I didn't like them in my eyes. So like I cut them once and then I kept doing it. But the funny thing about that is like I have bangs now, which I didn't for the longest time, but I do now, so I don't know. And then classroom management, my senior year, I was able to like do rotations in the elementary school. And I don't know, they always did those like signal phrases to keep their attention, like I don't know, there's a ton of them, but or they'd clap or something like that, and always had changing groups and stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay, awesome, good information. Thank you, Trinity. All right, Tia, are you there?
Yeah, my camera's broken. I mean, I can turn it on, but like this is all that you see.
Well, then there's really no point, is there? Well, it's nice to hear you, Tia.
Yes. Anyway, so my name is Tia Pritchard. I am a secondary mathematics education major, 7 through 12. A fun fact about me is that my first language that I ever spoke was sign language. And then as for classroom management, I have been teaching since 4th grade, so kind of 8 years. I know that sounds weird, but basically I moved to California and their schools are 2 years behind. And so because of that, I learned long division in 2nd grade where I moved to California from. So I already knew long division and all that kind of stuff that like they were learning. And so when I moved there, they were learning long division in 4th grade. And so when I moved there, I was like, oh, well, this is easy. I kind of just worked ahead. And my teacher caught on really quickly the fact that I was not listening to her and not paying attention. And so she came over to me and made sure that I knew how to do it. And then she would check in with me like in the morning, and then she'd have me teach the class throughout the entire day, teach the math courses. It was mainly just math, but I don't know if all schools in California are like this, but the particular school that I went to did not have any paras, and they only had they had 32 kids in one classroom. And on top of that, they did not separate the special ed students with the rest of the kids. So everybody was in one classroom. And so it was very hard for her to manage her classroom because of the lack of paras and all that kind of stuff. So from there, I learned like kind of how to manage a classroom and how to facilitate a class and stuff. And then I moved away from California and I moved back to Sydney, which is where I'm from. And there, I worked in an after-school kids program, and I was teaching classes, like different kinds of classes. Like one was a how to make greeting card class and stuff like that. It was just random classes, but from there, I kind of learned a little bit about like classroom management, but it wasn't like a whole lot.
I want to give your teacher a high five in California. Figuring out with 32 kids in a classroom of all different levels, which is typical. We see that all the time. But when you have got a kid who literally can help you teach, that's a high ability learner challenge for them and a total bonus for the teacher too. That's solid. I'd do the same thing 100%.
Oh yeah, she was so sad when I left. My mom told me, because I don't remember it, but my mom told me that when she told her, like when my mom told my teacher that I was leaving, she cried and she begged me to stay because she wanted me there so badly to like help her run the class and stuff. But
yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. Good story. Thanks, Tia.
Yeah.
All right. Alfredo, you just joined us. Would you like to tell us your major and something interesting about you?
Sure. I'm Alfredo. I'm a 7 through 12 sociology ed, and I've traveled the entire North American continent.
Nice. I love it. Perfect. Do you know anything about classroom management, Alfredo? Anything interesting or know nothing about it? Where you stand on that?
I mean, I guess just from what I can take from my TE 100 class, that it varies from class to class.
That is true. That is very true. It completely depends on the teacher, right? Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think we're ready. Lydia, did we have anything else planned before we jump in?
Nope. I should capture everything, so we're good to go.
All right, sounds good. So I am going to do a little bit of a presentation with y'all tonight because one area that I absolutely shine in is classroom management. That has very rarely been an issue for me. I would say it was an issue for me my first year of teaching. North Platte High School, I was teaching Spanish 1 6 times a day. So the same thing 6 times a day. So I only had one prep, thank God, because I was able to use the rest of the time to figure out how to control my class. I had everything from freshmen who were in Spanish 1 for the first time, all the way to seniors who were in Spanish 1 for the 4th time. You can imagine that those seniors in Spanish 1 for the 4th time were not happy to be there. And I was a 22-year-old fresh out of college. So it was interesting. I was only 3 years older than some of these students who were giving me behavior issues. So talk about trial by fire, right? And that's exactly what I did. And I figured it out. I learned. But over the years, I have narrowed it down to 4 things that I believe effective classroom management that makes effective classroom management. So if you would like to have this presentation that I'm going to show you today so that you have these ideas and these examples, I'm going to send you a link here in chat so that you can follow along with the presentation while I have it up if you would like to. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen here. I'll try and go fast because I really want to give you all enough time to get into our breakout rooms that are going to be led by Lydia, Hannah, and Kenny. And then I want to be able to come back together to discuss it and to give you some of my tips and to hear what you all came up with too. So I'm going to try and go pretty fast so that you guys can, you know, not be here until 10 p.m. or something. So what I have done here is I have put together this little presentation on classroom management, tips for all educators, K-12 and beyond. Because like I very briefly mentioned before, I use the same methods for college that I did for middle school. Okay, so this is me. I am Dr. Bailey Koch. I graduated in 2019 from the 27th grade. If you didn't know that's a thing, it is. Doctorate Special Education from Walden University, Master's in SPED from UNK in 2011, the very program I teach in now, Bachelor's Business Administration Spanish and Secondary Education from Nebraska Wesleyan University in 2006. Don't judge me, we all make mistakes. I should have been a LOPER from the start. Secondary Education certifications in Basic Business Spanish and Special Education 712. So this is why I'm the Secondary Ed Advisor. I have a few qualifications. I taught special education business and Spanish for 7 years in public education, North Platte and Gothenburg. I'm the mama of 2 kiddos with exceptionalities. My 14-year-old son has high functioning autism and my 11-year-old son has epilepsy. So that experience has taught me a lot about advocating for parent and kid rights as well. And that's a big passion of mine as well. I have been asked on more than one occasion if I eat rainbows for breakfast. I tend to be a very happy person. I love my job. I love life. I think that everything is awesome, even when it's not. That's just kind of who I am. And I think I stopped maturing around 11. So those are things that you should know about me. Lydia, would you agree with everything I just said?
I think you did a phenomenal job and we're happy to have you just as you are.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, so this is an important quote. Dr. Koch says, effective classroom management comes down to effective teaching. Don't confuse the two as completely separate because they're very much intertwined. Okay, so my top 4, my 4 things to do for a respectful classroom environment are: number 1, connections. Make professional connections with your students. Get to know them. Talk with them. Be silly. Okay. Number 2, universal design for learning. Provide multiple means of representation, engagement, and action and expression throughout your class. Like I said, you have access to this. So if you're wanting to take notes, you can. You can also just use this presentation whenever you want. Couldn't care less as long as you give me credit. That's just being respectful, right? And fun. Learning should first be fun for everyone. If your kids are having fun, you're having fun. And I will tell you that you will love the end of the day when you go home if you have made learning fun. And number 4 is respect. If you respect them, they will respect you. So a few things to know. 1, just because you're done being my student when you graduate doesn't mean that I'm done being your teacher. Okay. I love to be a professional resource. You can email me with questions at any time. I'm thrilled to help. And I mean, we're talking, you know, you're in your first year of teaching and it's 11 p.m. at night and you're drunk because you don't know how to handle this student. You don't want to go to them the next day. You can email me, you can call me. I would be happy to give you some ideas because I guarantee you I've been there. All right, when you are faced with resistance, you don't win the strength of your you don't win on the strength of your argument. You win on the strength of your relationship. And I believe that that is very, very important for classroom management. When you are faced with resistance, you don't win on the strength of your argument. You win on the strength of your relationship. So point number one is connections. Make connections with your students. Professional connections equals improved behaviors. How can I connect with my students? One, don't overthink it. Greet students as they enter your room. Attend student events. Ask them questions. Use social emotional learning activities in the classroom. And you'll learn about social emotional learning in 306 if you haven't learned about it yet. And if you don't learn enough in 306, I'll give you lots of resources so that you can learn more later. Okay, so some example social emotional learning activities are the snowball activity. If you've been in 306 face-to-face with me, you know that occasionally we throw shit at each other. It's just true, okay? And by throw shit at each other, I mean we write, after we've written, I don't care what you write on that thing, you wad up that paper and we throw it at each other for 30 seconds to a minute. We just toss snowballs across the room. Nobody's ever gonna read it. However, you always have the option to write whatever you want on that paper. And if you feel like you need to turn that paper into me so that I can read it, you're going to wad up a different piece of paper. Nobody will ever notice. And you slip me that sheet of paper that you needed to tell me something on at the end of the class period. I'm the only person who's ever going to read it. Everybody look at my face. Unless you're not safe. If you are not safe, I will do everything in my power to keep you safe, and I will not apologize for getting you the help that you need. Do you understand me? Thank you very much. Okay. That is effective classroom management right there, ladies and gentlemen. Do you respect what I just said? So will your students. See what I'm saying? Okay. Common ground is another activity that I love to use in my classroom. This is where students write something that very few know about them on a piece of paper. It could be anything from I have a twin to I survived an abusive relationship. We have had that before too. Okay. We wad that up, we throw them all in the center, and then everybody goes and picks up a piece of paper that's not theirs. They read it out loud and everybody has to talk. Do you have something in common with this person? Did you hear something that sounded like something you've dealt with? We don't know who it was. But if somebody said, I survived an abusive relationship, and there is somebody else in that classroom who possibly had, you'd be surprised at how those hands will start going up, because people want to connect with other people. We want to know that we're not alone. Okay, those are social emotional activities. How simple is that to throw into your classroom? Very simple. Then your students feel supported. Okay, so again, simple changes. These are other things you can do to make those connections. Common lunch. Avoid the teacher's lounge. Avoid it at all costs. You do not go into that place. It is a place of terrible, terrible negativity. You don't want to have anything to do with it. Hang out with the kids, promise you. Okay? Promise me you'll hang out with the kids. You don't go hang out with the teachers. Have lunch with your students. Build in time for students to redo their assignments and have conversations with faculty during their lunch. You would be surprised at how many of them will choose to come hang out with you instead of the other kids. And that's okay. They're learning, right? Okay. Peer studying. That's why I loved what Tia said. Pair up students who want to help who want to help and need more challenge with students in need of more help. They want to learn from each other. They want to help each other. Use that to your advantage. Okay, also great for mastery. Allow students to speak up if they want to redo an assignment. Why can't they? Why can't they redo an assignment? Give me one good reason right now. Anybody? 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 Nope. There's no good reason to redo an assignment. If you are a good teacher, you are teaching because you want them to learn the information. If they didn't learn it the first time that they took a test, why can't they redo it? Doesn't even make any sense when you say it out loud. Okay, do we want them to learn self-advocacy skills and the material to mastery? Everybody say yes. So let them redo it. Right? Thank you, Sophia. Thank you for the head nod. All right, can we tell I'm passionate about this? Maybe just a little, maybe just a little. All right, universal design for learning is the next thing. You will learn about universal design for learning in some of your classes, okay? So this is a very brief thing about it. Universal design for learning tells us to provide multiple means of representation, multiple means of engagement, and multiple means of action and expression. It says that students should be engaged in their learning through opportunities to interact with their learning in multiple ways. That's what universal design for learning is. And guys, if you are using universal design for learning the way that you should be, guarantee you have to do very few accommodations for any students, regardless of ability level. If you're doing it right, I bet you you're going to be hitting all of them. Okay, so universal design for learning, the representation is the what of learning. This says, how will the teacher present the information? Okay, I am using universal design for learning right now, ladies and gentlemen, and you did not even notice it. Okay, right now I am talking to you, correct? You are looking at a visual on my screen, correct? I provided you with a link to the exact same presentation that you are doing right now, correct? Can you go back and look at that presentation whenever you want to and take more notes over it? And I am recording this presentation to post at a later time. That is 5 elements of universal design for learning, and it was like zero problem for me, right? How hard was that? Okay, so that is how is the teacher actually going to present the information? How about engagement? How will the teacher help the students interact with the information? Using it right now. 1, I'm a highly entertaining person. I'm not gonna lie, it's just my personality, okay? So that's an element of universal design for learning that has never really been an issue for me because people tend to be engaged when I talk, okay? I'm kind of loud, kind of crazy. It is what it is. Okay, so that's number 1. But also, you are interacting with the information on your own. You can be taking notes. You can be guiding along. I see all of these. You see all these? These are students who are doing what is right for them. You are watching right along with me at the exact same time. Just because it was an element of universal design for learning representation, most of the time, it's also an element of engagement. Okay, so a lot of times they can overlap, they can go with one another. And finally, action and expression. How will the students express their learning? At the end of this today, I would like to give you a 20-question pop quiz. Okay, maybe one of you would like that. Maybe. Some people like tests, very few. But you know what I would tell you to do? I would tell you to put together a portfolio of universal design for learning resources. I would tell you to share it with me. If you like to make videos, I would say, hey, make me a video. Awesome. If you want to put together some type of presentation you will use in your future classroom, I would say, oh, that sounds like fun to grade. Do that. Okay. Then my day is made a heck of a lot more fun because I'm not grading the same thing over and over and over again. Give them choices. Okay, this is why I'm a happy person. I don't do the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, all right, next. Universal design for learning examples about classroom management. So again, what I was just saying, representation, PowerPoint, verbal instruction, link to PowerPoint with a voiceover provided, breakout rooms with examples. That's another thing. If we had more time right now for UDL, I'd go into breakout rooms. But guess what we're doing at the end of this? We're getting into breakout rooms so y'all can discuss it. Funny how that works. Okay, engagement, all of these different things I already said, but notice this one right here, breakout rooms with peers leading. Maybe I'm not the best person for you to learn from. Maybe you're going to learn better from Lydia, Hannah, or Kenny. Maybe you're going to learn from somebody who just happens to be in that peer group and is not even a leader. I couldn't care less how you learn, as long as you learn. If it's not from me, that's not my problem. Okay? That's not your problem either. You just don't learn from me. Action and expression, contribute to small group discussions. That's one way that I can know whether or not you know what you're doing. Contribute to the breakout room discussions. I can pop in there and check on what you're doing. I can also talk to Lydia, Hannah, and Kenny, who are my 3 leaders, and I can say, did you notice anybody who is struggling? If anybody struggled, I need to know that so that I can contact them and I can reach out and make sure that they understood. Okay, that's teaching. That's using your resources. Use your students. They want to help. Okay, and you can create your own UDL presentation. You can create a video, all these different options. Okay, number 3 is fun. Student willingness to participate and take more risks. I will tell you guys that by the time that I had been teaching for 7 years, social status disappeared in my room. It did not happen right away, so give yourself a little bit of credit, okay? I got better and better at classroom management the longer I taught, but when those students walked into my room, every single one of them talked, every single one of them played together, they interacted with each other. In my classroom, nobody was top dog and nobody was at the bottom. That was the way that it was, and it's because it was a respectful environment. We all had fun. Okay, so fun in the classroom, examples, play music. If it's distracting to students during independent work, let the students who enjoy it wear headphones. Do you really think that they recorded answers on their cell phone prior to class? They didn't. Okay, for crying out loud, the things that teachers come up with sometimes. No, they're not doing that. They're listening to music. Is it appropriate music? I don't care. If it's on their phone, whatever. Okay, let them listen to it. That's what calms them down right now. There is a song called Oreo that my 14-year-old son loves. I would not recommend listening to it. If you don't know what that song is, I don't think that that's a great idea. Okay, but I will tell you that that child loves that song. He barely even knows what it means. The kid is so much a virgin, it's not even funny. Okay, but seriously, he's a 14-year-old boy and he thinks it's hilarious. Whatever. It's not going to kill him. Okay, let kids listen to music. All right, choices. Have multiple activities or stations for learning. Let the students pick or let them try all of them. Okay, they want to go over to this station and try this. Oh, change my mind. I want to go over here. Okay, I don't care as long as you're learning. Okay, hands-on. How can you show the information through interaction with the learning? From peers, let students work with and learn from each other daily. Zero tolerance for even a roll of the eyes. Zero tolerance. And I mean, if a student rolls their eyes, you snap, you nip it in the bud right there and you say, hang on after class, I really want to chat with you. Okay, kiddo comes into your room and you say, you know what, I can roll my eyes all day long. Look how high I can get them. Oh my gosh, I feel dizzy. Oh my gosh, totally make fun of them. They will laugh. Okay, eventually they will laugh because they realize how silly they're being. And it gets over, but have zero tolerance for that. You got to stick on it. Technology. These students have grown up with the world in their pocket. You got to learn how to embrace it. You got to learn how to use it. We cannot fight it, nor should we. Okay, and games. Play games, be foolish. Everyone is accepted. This is a no judgment zone in your class. Okay, these are the things that are important to kids. And I'm not talking just kids. I'm talking about kids like I'm still a kid. Okay, I'm talking about kids who are in college. These are things that are important to people. Fitting in, especially middle school and high school. In your classroom, everyone fits in. Zero tolerance policy. Social status goes out the window. Here, you participate. Participation, look at me. Participation is the biggest part of your grade. Participation is the biggest part of your grade. You want that A, you little brown noser, you're going to learn how to stop rolling your eyes. right? Okay, you want that A, you better figure out how to be silly, because otherwise you're not going to get it. Why isn't participation the biggest part of our grades? Think about it. Having fun. Having fun is important to our students. You'll love how much all students have fun with their learning when you take out the expectation of being cool. I'm a good teacher, you guys. I'm a good teacher. I know that about myself, and I am strong in being able to say that. And the reason that I'm a good teacher is because I play. I have fun with every single thing. My students know that they are loved, that they are respected, that they are welcome when they come into that classroom. It all has to do with respect. That's it. Okay, and feeling loved. Give them high fives, give them hugs. Oh, COVID has been a nightmare for this teacher. Like, oh man, all I want to do is hug my students, but I do. How do I end every single class?
I love you and goodbye.
I love you and goodbye every single time. Okay, whether it's in person or whether it's over Zoom. Every single time I end my classes with I love you and goodbye, and I watch those smiles, and it's amazing. Okay, I know Lydia's never going to forget that, and oh my gosh, I couldn't be more proud. What a thing to be known for, to love your students, right? Yay. Like, Lydia, you're making my day, because I'm just watching your giant smile, and it's like everything to me. I love it. Hey, celebrate your students. Simple as that. Celebrate those successes. They need it. They want to be supported. We're talking all the way from kindergarten up until, my gosh, you guys, I celebrate my husband. People want to be celebrated. They want to be felt just loved, and they need to have some pride coming from somewhere else. Okay. All right. OOCZ. I always have a giant OOCZ, and people are like, I'm just like, what is that? It means out of comfort zone. Put signs up around your room. OOCZ. It confuses people. It's really fun. Okay. Out of comfort zone. And number 4 is respect. Allow your students to tell you what they need from you. That is key. Okay, so here is one of the first projects that I do, and unfortunately I haven't been using it. I kind of forgot about it for a while here teaching and at the college level. So I was really excited when I dug this back out. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been using that. I've been having kind of some conversations with students to make sure I'm supporting you. But the 5 Ways to Support Me project is the very first assignment that I always did in my classes when I was teaching middle school and high school. And basically it says, this has nothing to do with what you're studying. I need to know what you need from me. So jot down some ideas. They had to do something. I didn't care what it was. It says it right here. How you complete this is 100% your decision. Like to make a video, make me a video to tell me. Do you like to make a poster or create visuals or artwork? Do that. I don't care what it is, but I only care that you can upload it to Canvas so that I can access it. Okay, so you can take a picture. If you're going to do a poster, take a picture of it so I can see it. Okay. So then we would be in class and I'd say, start jotting down some ideas. How do you learn best? And we'd have conversations about how we learn best. I have to have Friends, Grey's Anatomy, or Schitt's Creek on in the background. Like, that's how I learn. Is that weird? I have to have noise. I have to have movement and activity. I cannot concentrate if it's super quiet. Okay. Is anybody else like that? No? Do we have a lot of quiet? Do we like quiet?
I always have Judge Judy on in the background.
Judge Judy. Oh, I feel like I would get distracted by that, but that is fabulous.
I can't do TV, but I definitely do like music, and like I am so afraid of silence. It's not even funny, but classic music when I'm reading, and then otherwise it's like just genuine music that I always listen to, kind of a thing.
Okay, fair enough. So what is happening right here in this group of people that we have, I have some people who are interested in having it quiet, and I have some people who need that background music. So what I would do is I would allow those students who like to listen to music or to watch a TV show, I would allow them to have their phone out to be listening to music or watching a show while they're taking tests, while they're studying, doesn't matter what they're doing. And that, you know, I would have some people who would say, how do you know what they're watching? Well, you'll walk around, dumbass. I mean, for crying out loud, seriously, if you're just sitting up at your chair, of course your students are going to do something behind your back. Get off your butt and do your job. That's how you know whether they're watching something they're not supposed to watch. It seems kind of silly, doesn't it? All right, so they would start jotting down ideas. Are there classroom teaching methods you've experienced before that have helped you? Was there a teacher that you had who did something that really, really was good for you? I want to know about it because I want to do that too. Okay, what do I need to know about you or your life in general that will help me understand and support you? This is where it's very important that you tell these students nobody else will see these. You are not presenting these. You are only submitting these to Canvas. I'm the only person who is going to see them. Okay. If a child has been a survivor of abuse, loud noises may be something that might be very scary for them. Okay. I want to know those things and I need to know those things so that I can support them in that learning environment. Certain songs, certain statements may be triggers. Okay. You'd be surprised what you get from students at this time. And then also, is there anything else you feel you should or want to share with me? Could be anything. And that's just being respectful. And what I always do, this comes in with the respect. This is the redo policy. This is my redo policy. I say self-advocacy. You want to redo? Come to me. I'm not going to chase you down. Hey, Lydia, you got an F on that test. I think you should redo it. Nope. Not going to hear that from me. You know you got an F on that test. You got to learn how to come to me and advocate for yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. Okay. Choices. Was the way you tried to display your knowledge not right for you when you tried it the first time? Let's maybe think of that. Let's maybe try something different this time. Right? How about the ABCs? Some people would just want to write it down because singing it might be super embarrassing, right? Is it that big of a deal if they write it down? No. Can they stand in front of you and sing it? What if they sing it backwards? That'd be cool. I'd have to write it down if they're doing that so that I know that they didn't miss anything. But whatever. Okay, give them some choices. And mastery. If the information is important, I just want you to know it. Not that you memorized it at one point in time. How many of you have crammed for a test and now have absolutely no idea what was on that test? All of us. Okay, that's not learning. That's memorization. That does nothing. Okay, if they use the information, that's when you know that it's working. Okay, all right, so now we're getting ready to get into our breakout rooms. How do we handle situations? So I've got 4 situations here, and you have this presentation. We are gonna break out into 3 separate breakout rooms. One's gonna be led by Lydia, one by Kenny, and one by Hannah. And I'm just gonna give you like, oh, you know what? I'll just tell you when you're done discussing the first one, go ahead and come back in together. How about we do it like that? Okay, so the first one is talkie-talkie. Mr. Lewis has a group of disruptive 8th grade students. Let me go ahead and put you into some breakout rooms. 3 of those. Oh, I was going to assign them automatically, but I need to make sure that Hannah and Lydia and oh, poo. 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Okay, opening rooms. Here we go.
So I just want to let you know that I have to go. Thank you so much for having this meeting. It was very educational and I absolutely loved it. So have a great rest of your day.
Good. You too, Tia. Thanks for coming. Everybody's coming. Oh, good. Hannah came back. How was advising, Hannah?
It was good. It was with Dr. Glenn Tracy, so it was interesting.
Oh, that's always interesting. I love talking with Glenn Tracy. He's so fun. He gives me popcorn. Right. All right. We've got room 2 and room 3 back with us here. Okay, everybody's back. Okay, I want to hear from our officers. Tell us what you figured out. Let's start with room 1. So that was Hannah.
All right, so we had a really good discussion. We kind of just started off with, honestly, like the parent calling of it can be good at times, like especially if you can't figure anything out, and just for a student to know maybe like both sides of support, especially. But I thought one really good point that was brought up was talk to the other teachers as well, see if these students are acting the same way in other classes, because us as teachers, we're never going to be perfect. So maybe if it's just our class, we can ask, what are those teachers doing for those students, or how do those students ask or act in their class, and what we can as teachers do to improve. And then also just like what's going on in the background of their lives that's making them act this way, because a lot of times it's maybe their home life is not going well, or their friend life. So when we continue to give them just like strict punishments, that might be what they're receiving at home. So it does no benefit. So
excellent point. Okay, perfect. Kenny, what did you all talk about?
We talked about the validity of Mr. Lewis's response. and like how effective it actually is, and how like it's a short-term solution to a major problem in the class that kind of resulted from not just handling it right away. And we talked about how it's also relational, where writing the names on the board in the classes I've been in that do that really drives a wedge between teacher and students. So we talked about like non-judgmental ways of doing that, non-shameful ways, because it makes it seem more like a warden as opposed to a mentor or a teacher. We also talked about just developing a better relationship with the students, maybe having them stay after at the end of class, figure out what's actually going on instead of just trying to figure it out in class, like taking some extra time with those students, and not treating it as like, oh, I punched in third period, I'm punching out of third period, don't have to worry about it anymore. Another thing was that instead of just separating the students, which is something he could have done, that has like a potential to backfire. We talked about just rearranging the seating chart in general. I had a teacher that would rearrange the seating chart if it got too disruptive. It would just be like, okay, there were issues. Let's not have issues with this seating chart.
Okay.
Which was very helpful and non-judgmental, and just kind of focus on the whole group instead of just like 2 students.
Okay. Okay, I love it. Excellent discussions. Awesome. All right. And last but not least, Lydia.
So with our group, we kind of talked about first of all, like the way that he was writing the names on the board and how that borders on like that public humiliation type of thing. Instead of making it like in front of the group, of maybe having those one-on-one conversations of like, if someone's being disruptive, of making it between the teacher and the student as opposed to the teacher and the class. And so making that more personalized there as opposed to kind of outing them in front of everyone. And then we also talked about instead of making it like a punishment with the objects that they had brought from home, of that some students do learn best when they're fidgeting or if they're moving, you know, like learning through movement. And so instead of maybe restricting it to the objects that are maybe disruptive, of providing own objects, of something that's maybe more quiet and less disruptive in the classroom so that they can still get that learning through movement. And then we also discussed that perhaps the structure of the classroom is what was causing the problems in that class discussion. So maybe that's what the problem was, and that's why they were being disruptive. Can we flip it somehow of making that peer-to-peer learning and like the universal design for learning and coming in to have more choices for their learning and being able to display that in different settings?
Absolutely. Okay. I love what everybody talked about, because the bottom line is none of you are wrong. Different things are going to work for different classrooms in different situations. Can I give you a little bit of advice though? Okay. I'm just going to do this right now here. Lydia, Emily, and Eric, you are my 3 troublemakers today. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I would just very quickly say, Lydia, Emily, and Eric, I need to see you after class real quick, if you wouldn't mind hanging around. Okay. So they're going to hang around and I'm going to say, all right, Eric, can you tell me what we learned today? Eric's probably going to be quiet because he probably doesn't have a clue what we learned today. And I'm going to say, all right, Eric, now the issue is that when we're acting like this, not only do you not learn anything, but other people in the classroom don't learn anything either. So it really makes it difficult for a classroom environment to be what it actually is, which is a place for learning. So I'll tell you what, this is your warning number 1, that if this happens again, y'all are going to teach the class the next day. Yeah. So if you miss out on a whole class lecture, it's going to be kind of hard to teach it the next day, isn't it? To give your group presentation. Yeah, that might be difficult. So let's not let it happen again. Okay. Otherwise you're going to teach. Fair enough. Okay. They're going to say, yeah, fair enough. Okay. Because they're not going to want to do that. Okay. But the next day they're going to walk in and they're going to see that, oh crap, Dr. Koh did a seating assignment and we're going to have group work today. And the 3 of us aren't anywhere near each other. Shucks. Okay, so simple things like that. I'm not going to make them feel bad about themselves. I am going to call them out by saying, I'd like you to come hang out after class today. I got to make a little bit of a spectacle of them, but I'm certainly not going to write their names on the board. I'm just going to say, I want you to hang out. Okay, then I'm going to say, you know what? Maybe you did know what's going on in that class. Maybe Eric pipes up and he says, well, it was blah, 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 and I already knew it. So what was the point in paying attention? So I'm going to say, oh my gosh, Eric, I had no idea that you knew that much. You know what? Tomorrow you're going to be my peer tutor. Tomorrow I'm going to have you help me help some of the other students in the class who are struggling. How does that sound? And Eric's probably going to be like, that sounds cool. Okay. Most of the time, those kids who already know it, guess what they want to do, guys? They want to show off that they already know it. Okay. So those are just a couple of things to think about, to flip what you're so used to seeing happening with classroom management, to take it to a different level and think of another way that you could have them use that information. And if they don't know the information, it's going to be hard to use it. Right? Okay, so just another idea. I'm not saying that what y'all came up with was not wrong. Absolutely, it could absolutely work. It totally depends upon the situation. But a lot of times when we really think outside the box, especially knowing that universal design for learning is probably going to take care of a lot of that. And that next day, okay, that didn't work very well. So tomorrow we're going to go into some group work, and it's not going to be the groups that we had yesterday. We learned. Okay. All right. You know what? Do y'all have to go though? It's 7:09. What do we think? Do we want to continue into the next one? Do you want to just have some ideas? What do you think? You tell me.
I have another meeting at 8. So if we like go to like 7:30, that would be like okay though.
It would be okay to go to 7:30. Oh, usually I try and stick to an hour and 15 minutes though. And I want to be respectful of y'all's time. I'm really thankful that you were here. You know what? Let's stop. And we didn't get to some of the examples, but you know what? How about let's do this? Look at those examples. If you have some questions, I want you to think outside the box. And if you have some questions about what you would or would not do, why don't you just email me? How about we do that? Okay, you have access to that PowerPoint. I know that you have it. You can look over it on your own time. You can keep it in a portfolio so that you can look at it whenever you want it after you're actually employed. Okay, just contact me if you have some questions. Does that sound fair? All right, you know what I'm going to say.
I love you and goodbye.
I love you and goodbye. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Thank you for coming out.